Welcome to the Splendor of Truth, and my name is Januario Sasongo, and today we are going to discuss chapter 3 of the book, The Splendor of Truth. Chapter 3 is entitled, chapter 3 is entitled Knowledge in the Age of Artificial Intelligence. What if I told you that the greatest threat to truth today is not ignorance, but intelligence without understanding? We are now living in a world where machines can write essays, answers, answer complex questions, and even sound like humans. But here is the real question. Do they actually know anything? Or are we entering a dangerous age where the appearance of knowledge replaces truth itself? In this video, I am going to walk you through chapter 3 of my book, The Splendor of Truth, where I argue that artificial intelligence, AI, is not just a technological revolution, it is an epistemological crisis. We are now living in what I call the age of artificial knowledge. For the first time in history, machines can generate answers, summarize arguments, and produce ideas that resemble human reasoning. But we must be very precise here because what AI produces is not knowledge in the full philosophical sense. It is pattern optimization. AI does not experience reality, understand meaning, or even reason independently. Instead, it produces vast amounts of data and produces outputs that are statistically coherent. And coherence is important, but it is not enough. In my framework of critical synthetic realism, knowledge requires more than just coherence. It requires correspondence with reality, critical testing, and epistemic grounding. AI lacks these. So what we get is what I call synthetic half knowledge. It looks like knowledge, it sounds like knowledge, but it is not fully anchored in reality. If we are not careful, we will begin to confuse fluency with truth, confidence with correctness. Now, let me take this further. The real crisis is not just AI, it is the digital ecosystem in which AI operates. Today, information systems are not designed to prioritize truth. They are designed to maximize engagement, clicks, and attention. And when engagement becomes the goal, truth becomes secondary. This creates three major distortions. One, filter bubbles. You are only exposed to the ideas that confirm your beliefs. Two, echo chambers. False ideas are repeated until they feel true. Three, fabricated reality. Through deepfakes and digital manipulation, reality itself can be simulated. What happens when you can no longer distinguish between what is real and what is generated? You get what I call the collapse of the correspondence criterion. Truth is no longer measured by reality, it is measured by visibility and emotional impact. And when that happens, society loses its epistemic anchor. Now let's address another dangerous illusion: the belief that AI is neutral. It is not. AI systems inherit the biases of their training data, the assumptions of their creators, and the inequalities of the society that produces them. So biases become automated, amplified, and invisible. And this is what I call the automation of injustice. And the problem is made worse by opacity. Most AI systems operate as black boxes. They produce answers, but you cannot easily explain how those answers were generated, what assumptions shaped them, and whether they are actually true. This creates a serious epistemological problem because if a claim cannot be tested, can we truly call it knowledge? This undermines one of the core principles of rational inquiry or inquiry, falsifiability. Without falsifiability, we move from knowledge to belief at scale. So, what is the solution? Do we reject AI? My response is no. That would be a mistake. Instead, we must recover philosophy. We must turn to critical thinking, epistemic discipline, and intellectual responsibility. The age of AI demands a renewed critical philosophy. We must insist on transparency. We must understand how systems work. We must insist on accountability. Someone must be responsible. We must insist on critical testing. Claims must be open to challenge. And because knowledge is not just technical, it is moral and political. Who controls knowledge controls reality or the perception of reality. And if we abandon critical reasoning, we would not be ruled by machines. We will be ruled by unquestioned outputs. That is why I introduce critical synthetic realism, CSR, as a guiding framework. CSR insists that knowledge must satisfy multiple conditions. One, correspondence. Does it match reality? Two, coherence. Is it logically consistent? Three, critical rationalism. Can it be tested and challenged? Four, axiological integrity. Is it free from distortion by power or comfort? And what is the value? AI satisfies coherence, but it often fails in correspondence, critical grounding, and moral accountability. And that is why I argue AI does not replace human intelligence. It depends on it. Human beings must complete what I call the synthetic loop of knowledge. We must interpret, evaluate, and verify. Without the human mind, AI remains incomplete. Let me end with a paradox. We are living in the most information rich era of human history, and yet we are facing a crisis of understanding because information is expanding, but wisdom is shrinking. And that is the real danger. If we confuse speed with truth, output with understanding, and intelligence with wisdom, then we risk losing the very foundation of knowledge. So the future is not AI versus humanity. The future is AI guided by a critically responsible human mind. Because in the end, artificial intelligence can process information, but only the human mind can pursue truth. If we lose that pursuit, we lose not just knowledge, we lose freedom itself. We have now come to the end of part one of the Splendor of Truth. In part one was entitled The Epistemic Command, Building the Critical Toolkit. In this first movement, I have laid the foundation, the tools needed to think critically, to distinguish truth from illusion, and to understand what knowledge really is. But now we move from construction to confrontation. In the next video, we begin part two, refutation, conquering the forces of irrationality. And that journey starts with chapter 4, witchcraft as philosophically unjustifiable. I know this may sound controversial, but please uh, come back and listen to chapter 4. If you found this presentation insightful, go ahead and click like below and subscribe to this channel. And if you want the full argument, the full framework, and the full vision, please consider getting a copy of my book, The Splendor of Truth by January Sasongo. And it is available on Amazon. You can also find it with the publisher with on stock. Thank you for listening, and I will see you in the next chapter where we begin the work of refuting illusion and reclaiming truth. Bye.